think one of the problems with the word generosity is just the way we hear it. When you really look at like the New Testament, which is the part of the Bible that's Jesus, his followers, and everything after, how to follow Jesus, the New Testament really speaks of generosity not like this command that you have to obey, but more as a response, a reaction, something that comes out of you. It's a way that you become. It's not so much something you have to just do over and over again. It's kind of like saying, hey, I command you to go like that person. It's one thing if I command you to go be nice to that person, or if someone were to command you to go give to somebody. You and I could do that even if we didn't like them. But what if the command was go like them? How would you become the kind of person who could like someone that you didn't? And I think that's what the command in the New Testament and the first Christians, when they gave us these ideas all over the scriptures, is that they wanted us to be generous. And generosity, being generous, is something that comes from within. It's not just an action. It's not just go give money here or go open your home on this date. It's this amazing invitation to become a certain kind of person. And I'll be honest, like I think just giving money, that's an easy thing to obey. But the model of Jesus is to be generous. When you look at a story like the one we find in Luke chapter 19, you see a perfect example of this. You have Jesus. He enters Jericho. He passes through, and a man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. And some of you may know a song about little tiny Zacchaeus. And he was a chief tax collector, which makes him a very bad guy, working for the evil government that's taken over their land. And he's collecting and extorting their money. And he was very wealthy because of it. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but because he was so short, he could not see over the crowd. I love that, especially as someone who has been short most of their life. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree to see him, since Jesus was coming that way. And when Jesus reached that spot, he looked up and he said to him, Zacchaeus, I see you. Come down immediately. I must stay at your house today. So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. All the people saw this and they began to mutter. I love in the Bible when people mutter. I don't know when you've muttered recently, but I'm due for a good muttering session. It says the people began to mutter amongst themselves, Jesus has taken this guest in? Like in other words, Zacchaeus is this man. He's gone to be the guest of a sinner. Jesus, he's gone to be with Zacchaeus. He's a sinner. He's a tax collector. But Zacchaeus stood up and he said to the Lord at this dinner, Look, Lord, here I now give half of my possessions to the poor. And if I've cheated anybody out of anything, I'll pay back 4 times the amount. Jesus said to him, Today, salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. I find it interesting that Zacchaeus didn't get baptized. He didn't say the sinner's prayer. He didn't become a church member. But Jesus said salvation had come to his house that day, because of his response, because of who he became, and because immediately what this man Zacchaeus realized was that it was his time to be someone who gave, not because it was a command, but because of how transformed he was. Zacchaeus is the transformed giver. People like Zacchaeus don't have trouble being generous because it's in reaction to how generous God has been to them. Maybe one of the reasons some of us struggle with being generous and giving is not that we don't want to, but it's that we seem to have become unaware once again of the goodness of God towards us in our life. Maybe today what we need to ask is, how do we become generous? Not how do we give more? Not how do we do more? Not how do we serve more and subscribe to more things that make us feel warm and fuzzy around the holidays? But how do I become the kind of person who wants to give? Because God has so been generous to me.